Hi, I'm Liz Trosper and welcome to Art This Week. On this week's episode, we visit the Amon Museum of American Art and speak with photographer Kathy Sherman Suder about her exhibition, Underground. Now for Art This Week.
Hi, I'm here with Kathy Sherman Suder at the Amon for her photography exhibition, Underground. Thank you for joining us, Kathy.
My pleasure.
So can we talk about the piece that we're standing in front of right here?
Sure.
Yeah. Who is this person? Why did you decide to shoot him?
I shot him because he is just so inside himself and so full of joy. He was really pretty oblivious to everybody on the train.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew he was in the subway, but I loved his exuberance and the fact that he wasn't playing for money. You know, he's not a busker, he's not begging for money. He is absolutely enjoying sharing the music and giving this gift to everybody on the train. And I thought that that was a real generosity of spirit. And I wanted myself to be able to capture that moment and share it with other people and kind of pass it on.
Right.
And I loved that, you know, that this sign above him was kind of displaying in the next stop, and that at that moment it said, "This is," and this is what, you know, I leave it to the viewer to decide what is it. But for me, this is joy, and this is generosity.
Yeah. Were you just traveling? Let's say, you know, you went to New York for any certain reason. Like, so is this just something you do? You get on a train once you get into the city and you just photograph people. Is that kind of how it goes?
It's kind of a combination of experiences. This has been, for me, a personal journey of the last 6 years. But my first trip on the New York subway was right out of college. My intention was to go to law school, and I actually got into George Washington University and the University of Texas Law School, and decided to take a break or to see if that's what I wanted to do. So I moved to New York with only the intention of staying for a year, and went to work as a fashion editor at Glamour magazine, and got on the subway my very first time. And it was during a rash of chain snatchings that were happening on the subway. And literally my first day on the subway, I felt this hand come over my neck, and I saw it go to the neck in front of me, a woman's neck, and he grabbed the chain and ripped it off her neck and ran. So thinking back on that, I can't believe I ever got on the subway again. But I have over the last 6 years ridden the subway hundreds and hundreds of times. Every time I go to New York, I ride this subway. It's a great way for me. It's a great mode of transportation, and it's a great way to see people, meet people, observe people. For the last 5 years, excluding the last year and a half, I have been commuting between Fort Worth, Texas and Cambridge, England, and about every other week or every third week, give or take, and spend a lot of time on the UK subway. So you'll see a lot of pictures in here of the London rail. And then of course in New York I had lots of reasons to be there, because as a photographer I went to art shows and galleries and for personal reasons. So when I was there, I took advantage of it. I always keep my camera with me.
Since you saw that person being mugged, like, did that make you hide your camera more while traveling? Did you keep it in a bag, or did you just kind of hold, you know, keep it in front of you and hold it there? How do you travel when you're shooting?
It's a good question. I keep a backpack with me, and when I first started, I had a couple of camera bodies, several camera lenses, and I had a great big camera case. But what I found was that I couldn't just shoot quickly. I missed a lot of opportunities to capture really important moments. So now I just have a backpack with one camera lens, one camera body, and often I just keep my camera around my neck and take my chances. So people know when they see me on the train that I've got this camera, and often I've got it ready to take pictures. So they usually know what's coming. They see me taking pictures.
Why did you choose to print your images so large? What was the inspiration?
Because I wanted you and anybody else who sees the picture to feel like you're there, that you're actually on the train with me, with the other people. So it's a little larger than life. And in fact, the curator of this exhibition, John Warbach, made the choice. We're partners in the decision of which photos to show and how to hang this exhibition. And his idea was to hang them low, so that again, this is at the level of where you'd see the train and how you'd enter the train.
Right.
So you're really a part of it. You
Yeah.
can't escape it.
Yeah.
And these are hung tight. This is a close, small room. You're in it. You're in the train.
As you would be on the train.
Exactly.
Awesome. And what about the lighting and the color in the room? It's dark. We've got these spotlights that almost make the images pop out.
That was a very, very important part of my vision for this exhibition. I wanted the walls to be dark so that you felt like you were entering the subway. And in fact, what I wanted was to have the entries to come down a little bit, for you to have a kind of a narrowed entry into it. So the first entrance into the exhibition is lowered, and they've added a wall to the entrance so that you come into a little tunnel to enter the exhibition.
So Kathy, can you tell me about some of the reactions that you get from people when you're photographing them? Sometimes they know that you are shooting them. Other times they are probably oblivious, but and you must be a little afraid of it. But how do you do it? Like, what happens when you shoot someone's photo?
Well, I do get some strange reactions. Some people are shocked. Some people are surprised. You'll see, and some of the photos. One of the photos, there's a man that makes a really kind of shocked look in his face. Some people are just staring at me blankly, and then the car moves so quickly they don't have an opportunity to react.
Yeah.
There's one photo where the girls put their hands in front of their face to stop me from taking the picture. And that one, I took an entire series of photographs. There's probably 12 in that series, where they really kind of participate in a dance with me. They never turn their back and walk away. So they really never really want me to stop taking their picture, because it's these teenage girls and they kind of play this game with me. And there are some times when people really get angry with me. But they, in this particular case, I thought this man was going to have an angry reaction. And I walked right up to him and took his picture. You can see that he knows I'm taking his picture. He's staring right at me.
Yeah.
And for me, it was an intimidating experience, because you and I are both petite women, not very tall, and he was a big, tall, very strong man. I walked up to him, took the picture, the train came, he got on the train. I followed him onto the train because I thought he was such an interesting looking person. And then the train pulled away, so it was just the two of us in that train car. And we sat directly across from each other, and I took another picture of him, kind of a portrait.
Yeah.
And he, in a low voice, said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Are you going to hurt me?" And it was kind of a funny thing to say. You know, you don't usually ask somebody ahead of time if they're going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And
it just came out of your mouth.
Exactly. It was just a reaction. And,
Yeah.
and he said, "No, I'm not going to hurt you." And I said, "Well, okay." So I walked next to him, sat down next to him, and started showing him all of the photographs that people had taken on the train, because it's a digital camera, I can flip through them.
Right.
And he was such a lovely, interesting man. We talked for a long time, and I got to know him, and it taught me a really important lesson that I learned all through this project, which is people can look one way on the outside and be such different people on the inside. And we don't want to be judged by the way we look.
Right.
And he certainly, for a lot of people, wouldn't be intimidating at all. And in fact, I was here with another group of people, and the men in the group weren't intimidated by him either, because he's not bigger or taller than they are.
Yeah.
But it was the location where we were, and I think the difference in our sizes.
Yeah. So we have this image here that was, it's the only one in the entire show from Japan, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, so what's happening here? What was your experience in shooting in Japan?
My experience in the subways in Japan was completely different from any other subway I've been in. And I've been in others, in addition to the London, New York, and Japanese subways. But in Japan, there's an incredible amount of grace and graciousness, I should say. They stand in line very politely. They wait for all the elderly and the women with children to get off, and then they quietly file on. They also let the elderly and the women with children get on first, and the conductor wears gloves. He helps them on. He puts a little kind of bridge on the train so that they can get on with their buggies. Wow. And what I was trying to show here is that idea that they stand in line. You don't get the sense of that in the book. I've published a book of these images plus about 20 more that you don't see in the exhibition. And in the book, you don't get that sense of these people standing in line. It shows better, I think, in the larger photo. But also the young girls, this girl's about 14 or 15 years old, they dress in this very kind of, more mature way than we experience here in the States. They, even the schoolgirls wear these really short skirts and these thigh-high stockings. So it's a very mature kind of provocative way. But then they have this girlishness about them too. They have bows everywhere, on their shoes, on their handbags. They have Hello Kitties on their handbags, on their cell phones. They have all these things that dangle off of them, little hot dogs and hamburgers and all these cute girlish things. It's a real strange kind of dichotomy. Yeah. And so I wanted you to get a sense of that happens with the young girls and this very old world thing, which is this wonderful politeness and graciousness. So to do that, I had to stoop very low and get this point of view that was different than you see in any of the other images.
Yeah, it's very true. So you're almost capturing like the subway culture in all these different cities, you know. I think that's very great. I went to Mexico City and everybody was just pushing each other in. There is no politeness there at all. You know, you just jam in with everyone else and hold on to your bags.
You can get a real sense of the culture of a city by going underground.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, thanks so much for speaking with us.
It's my pleasure. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
We want to thank Kathy for speaking with us. For more information on Kathy, go to kathyshermansuder.com. For more information on the exhibition, go to cartermuseum.org. That's it for Art This Week, and thanks for watching.
Do you have like a zoom lens or just a fixed lens?
It's a fixed lens, and it's got it's a wide body lens so that I can get most of the train car in one picture, so I can tell a bigger story.
That's great.